Lori and Mark, behind me is a graph showing SPD's cost overruns, their overtime for the last few years. This is what they budgeted. That orange line, the red line is how much they actually spent. In 2017, they were $6 million in OT, but that's not as bad as previous years. $8 million in 2016, $9 million in 2015, and about $10 million the year before that. Now, this is in the scope of a $300 million budget. One of the big factors they're focusing on is policing special events, from protests to marathons to sporting events. Seattle has had about 1,000 of these events in 2017, and that number goes up almost every year. One of the problems is how much Seattle police gets paid to provide security for the planned events like parades. The city charges event organizers about $67 an hour per officer, but the actual averagely cost is about $74. Also, another big cost has been required training for officers. An officer who goes in for specialized training has to be replaced by another officer out in the field who is paid overtime. All of these costs will go up if officers ratify a new labor contract. Back to you.